My beloved soul, listen carefully. How God and heaven guide your soulmate story. What if I told you that your love story did not begin the day you met them, but long before that moment, in places you could not see and in decisions heaven was already shaping on your behalf? What if the delays, the heartbreaks, the almost relationships, and even the painful silence were not signs of rejection, but evidence of divine protection? There are connections written by emotion, and there are connections written by eternity. Your soulmate story belongs to eternity. Before we go deeper, I invite you, if your spirit feels aligned with this word, to type, "I receive this," in the comments as a declaration of faith. Like this message, subscribe, and click the bell so you do not miss what heaven is revealing in this season. And if you feel led in your heart, you may send a super thanks as a voluntary, personal act of faith. It is never pressure, never obligation, and never connected to receiving blessings or miracles. Your blessing does not come from a transaction, it comes from divine alignment. Now open your heart. My beloved soul, many people think soulmate stories are about romance alone, but heaven sees them as assignments of growth, mirrors of healing, and sacred covenants designed to transform both hearts. The reason some connections shake you to your core is because they were never meant to be casual. They were meant to awaken you. Every delay you experienced was heaven adjusting the timing. Every no was protection from a yes that would have broken you. When someone walked away and you did not understand why, heaven understood what you could not see. The divine does not rush what is eternal. God is not anxious about your timeline. Heaven does not panic because months pass in silence. What feels slow to you is strategic in the spiritual realm. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because what you are about to understand will change the way you see your entire journey. There were seasons when you cried and asked why love felt so complicated. You questioned whether you were too much or not enough. But heaven was never confused about your worth. Sometimes God allows distance so both souls can mature separately before being trusted together. A soulmate connection is not simply about chemistry, it is about readiness. If two souls meet before they are prepared, the connection can collapse under the weight of their unhealed wounds. So heaven guides the story quietly. It orchestrates growth through solitude. It teaches lessons through temporary endings. It builds character in hidden places. And while you thought nothing was happening, everything was being aligned. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you. My beloved soul, there are divine intersections that look accidental on the surface. A random message. A sudden memory. An unexpected encounter. But heaven does not operate randomly. When God guides a soulmate story, He weaves together timing, location, emotional maturity, and spiritual awakening. He speaks through intuition. He redirects through closed doors. He protects through delays. Even the misunderstandings that caused distance may have been necessary to reveal what still needed healing. You must understand this deeply. Heaven is more concerned with the condition of your heart than the speed of your relationship. If your heart is still carrying fear, abandonment wounds, pride, or insecurity, divine love will first confront those areas. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. The silence you fear may actually be sacred preparation. The waiting season may be strengthening your discernment. The confusion you felt may have been heaven exposing illusions so that only truth remains. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There is something powerful about the way God guides two souls who are meant to walk together. He allows both to experience lessons that refine their character. He removes distractions that would sabotage the covenant. He tests intentions. He reveals motives. He strips away ego. Sometimes the separation phase is not the end, but the classroom. In that classroom, heaven teaches patience, humility, forgiveness, and self-worth. Because when two souls finally reunite under divine timing, they must come together whole, not desperate. My beloved soul, you were never meant to chase what God already assigned to you. What is written for you will not require you to betray yourself. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. The guidance of heaven does not always feel dramatic. Often it feels like a quiet inner knowing. A peace that defies logic. A conviction that refuses to die even when circumstances suggest otherwise. That knowing is not delusion. It is spiritual alignment. But alignment does not mean passivity. You are called to grow, to heal, to forgive, to release bitterness. Because when heaven guides a soulmate story, it calls both souls higher. It calls them into accountability. It calls them into integrity. It calls them into emotional maturity. You cannot step into a divine union while still clinging to old patterns. God will not bless dysfunction. He will refine you until you can carry what you prayed for. My beloved soul, some of you are in the waiting phase right now. You wonder if the connection was real. You replay conversations. You question signs. But heaven is not confused. What is divinely orchestrated cannot be erased by temporary silence. If the story is meant to continue, it will resume under better conditions. And if it is meant to close, it will close with clarity, not chaos. Trust that heaven is guiding every chapter, even the ones that hurt. Because your soulmate story is not just about finding love. It is about becoming the version of yourself capable of sustaining it. And when the time is right, when both hearts are aligned, when lessons have been integrated, when healing has taken root, heaven will move in ways that leave no doubt. The same God who protected you from the wrong connections is the God who is preparing you for the right one. And when that alignment manifests, you will realize that nothing was wasted. Not the tears. Not the waiting. Not the confusion. It was all guidance. It was all divine authorship. It was all heaven writing a story far greater than you could have imagined. And when that alignment manifests, you will realize that heaven was not only guiding events around you, it was guiding the transformation within you. My beloved soul, there is a sacred architecture behind your soulmate story, and it is built layer by layer through obedience, surrender, and trust. You may have thought you were simply surviving heartbreak, but in the spirit realm you were being refined. You may have believed you were losing someone, but heaven was revealing where attachment had replaced faith. The divine does not build eternal unions on unstable foundations. Before two destinies can merge, both individuals must confront their shadows. That is why the journey has felt intense. It was never meant to be shallow. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because what you understand here will free you from unnecessary fear. The confusion you once interpreted as rejection may have been divine redirection. God will never allow you to permanently attach to someone who would ultimately derail your purpose. If someone exits your life abruptly, do not assume the story is ruined. Sometimes heaven removes a person temporarily to expose what still needs healing in both hearts. If the connection returns under healthier alignment, you will recognize the difference. And if it does not return, you will see clearly that what felt like destiny was actually preparation. Heaven guides not only through open doors but also through divine restraint. There are moments when you wanted to force communication, to demand clarity, to chase reassurance. But something within you held back. That restraint was not weakness. It was spiritual wisdom. When God guides your soulmate story, He teaches you not to beg for what is already assigned. He strengthens your identity so that you no longer seek validation from inconsistent behavior. He matures your love so it becomes patient rather than anxious. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you. My beloved soul, divine timing is not passive waiting, it is active becoming. While you thought nothing was happening, heaven was recalibrating both paths. Perhaps your soulmate had to confront their own fears of commitment. Perhaps they needed to face unresolved trauma. Perhaps you had to release patterns of overgiving or self-sacrifice. The space between you was not empty, it was instructional. In that space, God whispered lessons into your spirit. He showed you where you tolerated less than you deserved. He exposed where you confused intensity with intimacy. He revealed the difference between attachment and covenant. A soulmate story guided by heaven will challenge your ego before it rewards your heart. Because ego demands control, but covenant requires surrender. My beloved soul, some of you fear that time is running out. You measure love against age, seasons, and societal expectations. But heaven does not operate under human deadlines. God is not pressured by cultural timelines. He is concerned with spiritual readiness. If your soulmate is truly aligned with your destiny, there will be divine preservation over the connection. Even when communication fades, the thread remains intact. Even when circumstances complicate things, unseen forces are working. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There is also a truth you must accept with courage: not every intense connection is your final covenant. Sometimes heaven allows you to experience a powerful bond so you can recognize your capacity for deep love. That experience stretches your heart, expands your emotional range, and prepares you for something even more aligned. If a connection ends permanently, it does not mean you imagine the depth. It means its purpose was seasonal, not eternal. My beloved soul, maturity is recognizing that divine guidance may lead you away from what you strongly desired. And that redirection is still love. Because God values your peace more than your obsession. He values your wholeness more than your attachment. He values your destiny more than your temporary satisfaction. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. Consider how heaven often communicates through patterns. Repeated dreams. Recurring themes. A persistent inner knowing that refuses to dissolve. When guidance is divine, it carries both conviction and peace. Anxiety screams, divine alignment whispers. If you feel constant chaos, insecurity, and emotional instability, pause and ask whether you are chasing chemistry instead of covenant. A soulmate story orchestrated by heaven will ultimately produce clarity, even if it begins with mystery. God does not author confusion as a final outcome. He may allow temporary uncertainty to build faith, but He resolves what He initiates. My beloved soul, there is power in surrendering the outcome. You are not called to script every scene. You are called to align your heart with truth. When you release control, you create space for divine orchestration. When you stop manipulating circumstances, heaven can move more freely. Trust does not mean inaction, it means inspired action. It means responding to peace rather than fear. It means communicating with integrity rather than desperation. It means honoring yourself while leaving the ultimate outcome to God. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because surrender is where miracles are conceived quietly. Many soulmate stories falter because one or both individuals refuse to evolve. But when heaven guides your connection, stagnation becomes uncomfortable. You will feel prompted to grow. You will feel convicted about unhealthy habits. You will sense a call toward deeper emotional responsibility. That discomfort is not punishment, it is elevation. God is preparing you to love from abundance, not from lack. He is teaching you to choose from discernment, not from fear of being alone. My beloved soul, you must also understand that divine guidance protects both people involved. If your soulmate is meant to walk with you long term, heaven will not allow you to destroy each other through immaturity. There may be pauses, separations, and recalibrations, but those are acts of mercy. The divine sees the full picture you cannot see. He knows the conversations that need to happen. He knows the pride that must soften. He knows the courage that must awaken. And he orchestrates circumstances that bring hidden issues to the surface. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you. Imagine two souls being shaped simultaneously in different locations. Each facing personal battles. Each learning lessons that seem unrelated to love. Yet in the unseen realm, those lessons are converging toward a shared future. When the timing aligns, both will recognize that their separate journeys were synchronized preparation. This is how heaven guides a soulmate story. Not through fantasy alone, but through transformation. Not through constant ease, but through intentional growth. My beloved soul, release the fear that you have missed your chance. What is divinely written cannot be accidentally erased. You cannot sabotage what God truly ordained, though you can delay it through resistance. So choose alignment over anxiety. Choose growth over stagnation. Choose faith over fear. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There is a sacred confidence that emerges when you truly trust divine authorship. You stop obsessively checking for signs. You stop interpreting every silence as abandonment. You stop competing with imaginary rivals. Instead, you cultivate inner peace. You focus on your calling. You nurture your spiritual depth. And paradoxically, that stability makes you more ready for union than desperation ever could. My beloved soul, heaven is not writing a fragile love story. It is crafting a resilient covenant. One that can withstand misunderstanding. One that can survive external pressure. One that can endure seasons of testing. But resilience requires refinement. So do not resent the process. Embrace it. Because when your soulmate story unfolds fully under divine guidance, you will stand in awe of how intricately it was arranged. The missed flights, the delayed messages, the chance meetings, the necessary endings, the unexpected reconnections, all of it will form a tapestry of purpose. And you will whisper with humility that heaven knew exactly what it was doing. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. The final word is this: your soulmate story is not merely about finding someone who loves you. It is about becoming someone who trusts God completely. When trust becomes your foundation, fear loses its grip. When surrender becomes your posture, manipulation dissolves. When faith becomes your language, doubt fades. And in that state of alignment, whether your soulmate arrives tomorrow or later, you will be unshaken. Because your security will no longer depend on another human being, but on the one who guides every destiny. My beloved soul, heaven is writing. Heaven is aligning. Heaven is preparing. And nothing that is truly meant for you will be lost. And when you fully accept that heaven is writing, aligning, and preparing, a new kind of peace settles over your spirit. My beloved soul, this peace is not naive optimism. It is not denial of reality. It is the deep assurance that no matter how the surface looks, there is divine intelligence moving beneath it. You begin to understand that your soulmate story is not hanging by a fragile thread. It is anchored in something eternal. And what is eternal cannot be shaken by temporary storms. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because what I am about to reveal will shift how you interpret every past heartbreak. Some of you have been blaming yourselves for what ended. You replay conversations, searching for the exact sentence that ruined everything. You analyze your tone, your timing, your reactions. But what if the ending was not caused by one mistake, but permitted by divine wisdom? What if heaven saw fractures forming that you could not yet see? When God guides a soulmate story, He does not allow it to collapse permanently over minor misunderstandings. If something ended completely, it was either never the covenant, or it was a chapter designed to awaken you. There is freedom in accepting that not every loss is a failure. My beloved soul, heaven also tests love. Not to torment you, but to purify the intention behind it. If your desire for union is rooted in fear of loneliness, the test will expose that fear. If it is rooted in ego, the test will confront that pride. If it is rooted in genuine partnership, the test will strengthen it. Divine guidance refines motives. It removes illusion. It burns away fantasy and leaves only truth. And truth is the only foundation strong enough to sustain a lifelong covenant. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you. Consider how often God works in silence. There are seasons when you hear nothing. No clear sign. No obvious movement. And yet, silence does not mean absence. Silence can mean construction. When a building is being renovated, there are moments when everything looks dismantled. Walls are open. Dust fills the air. Nothing seems stable. But renovation is progress in disguise. My beloved soul, heaven may be renovating both hearts. Dismantling unhealthy beliefs about love. Removing fear-based expectations. Rewiring emotional responses. So that when the two of you stand face to face again, you are not the same people who once struggled. You are wiser. Softer. Stronger. More aligned. My beloved soul, you must also release the need to control how the story unfolds. Many people try to help God by forcing conversations, creating artificial closure, or manipulating circumstances. But divine orchestration does not require human interference. It requires human cooperation. Cooperation means obedience. It means listening when you feel prompted to step back. It means speaking truth when you feel called to communicate. It means walking away when your spirit feels unrest. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There is a sacred rhythm to soulmate stories guided by heaven. There are moments of closeness and moments of distance. Moments of clarity and moments of questioning. But beneath that rhythm, there is a steady pulse of divine intention. If the connection is truly ordained, it will survive growth seasons. It will survive external distractions. It will survive temporary immaturity. Because what God joins at the level of destiny cannot be permanently undone by emotion alone. My beloved soul, some of you are being prepared to forgive. Not because the pain was small, but because your heart is being elevated. Forgiveness does not mean excusing harmful behavior. It means releasing bitterness so it does not poison your future. Heaven will never unite two souls while resentment still dominates their spirits. Healing must precede reunion. That is why you feel the internal work intensifying. Old wounds resurfacing. Childhood patterns being exposed. Emotional triggers becoming obvious. This is not regression. It is purification. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because healing is the doorway to holy love. When you allow God to heal your insecurities, you stop seeking constant reassurance. When He heals your abandonment fears, you stop clinging to inconsistent affection. When He heals your self-doubt, you stop settling for crumbs. And as you heal, you raise the standard of what you are willing to accept. That elevation is not pride. It is alignment. My beloved soul, understand this clearly: divine love will never require you to shrink. It will never ask you to betray your values. It will never demand that you silence your intuition. If you constantly feel small, anxious, or unworthy, pause and examine whether you are aligned with heaven's design or with your own fear. Because when God guides a soulmate story, there is conviction, yes, but there is also dignity. There is passion, yes, but there is also peace. Stay with me till the end, something powerful is waiting for you. There will come a moment when everything makes sense. A moment when conversations flow differently. When maturity replaces defensiveness. When clarity replaces confusion. When both hearts recognize the divine fingerprint on their journey. That moment cannot be rushed. It must be grown into. And growth requires time. My beloved soul, do not measure progress only by visible results. Sometimes the greatest shifts happen internally. A hardened heart becomes compassionate. A fearful mind becomes trusting. An impatient spirit becomes steady. Those invisible transformations are evidence that heaven is actively guiding your story. You are not stuck. You are becoming. Do not leave yet, heaven has more to reveal. There is also a possibility that must be spoken with love. Sometimes the person you believed was your soulmate was a mirror, not the covenant. A mirror reflects your wounds, your desires, your unmet needs. It shows you where you still seek validation. And once you learn the lesson, the mirror's role is complete. This realization can feel devastating, but it is also liberating. Because it means your true covenant is still protected. Heaven does not confuse roles. It assigns them with precision. My beloved soul, whether your story leads to reunion or redirection, trust that divine guidance is consistent. God is not playing with your heart. He is shaping it. He is not withholding love. He is preparing you to receive it fully. He is not delaying out of indifference. He is aligning circumstances you cannot yet perceive. If you remain till the end, the final word will change everything. The final word is this: your soulmate story is ultimately a testimony of your relationship with God. When you trust Him with your heart, you remove fear from the equation. When you surrender timelines, you remove pressure. When you obey His prompting, you remove chaos. And in that surrendered state, love becomes a blessing, not a battlefield. My beloved soul, heaven is not late. It is precise. It is not distant. It is detailed. It is not careless. It is compassionate. Every tear you cried was counted. Every prayer you whispered was heard. Every moment of doubt was met with unseen reassurance. You are not navigating this journey alone. The author of destiny is guiding every step. And when the chapter finally turns in your favor, you will see that nothing was random. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was outside divine supervision. Your soulmate story is being written with intention, with wisdom, and with eternal love. And what heaven writes, heaven sustains. And what heaven writes, heaven sustains. My beloved soul, let that truth settle deeply within you. You are not at the mercy of chance encounters or emotional impulses. You are held within a divine narrative that is far more intelligent than your fears and far more stable than your doubts. When God authors a soulmate story, He does not draft it in haste. He crafts it with foresight. He considers the battles you will face together, the responsibilities you will carry, the legacy you will build. This is why preparation feels intense. This is why the journey has required so much inner transformation. My beloved soul, do not skip this moment, because clarity is rising even now. The love you are being prepared for is not shallow attraction. It is not temporary excitement. It is a partnership that reflects spiritual maturity. It is a union where both individuals recognize that they were shaped separately for a shared purpose. That kind of love cannot be built on insecurity. It cannot thrive on manipulation. It cannot survive without surrender to divine wisdom. My beloved soul, release the fear that you must figure everything out. You are not required to predict the next chapter. You are invited to trust the author. Trust means continuing your growth even when you do not see immediate results. It means choosing integrity even when emotions fluctuate. It means honoring your worth even when circumstances feel uncertain. Heaven responds to alignment, not desperation. Stay with me till the end. Something powerful is waiting for you. There is coming a day when you will look back at this season and feel gratitude instead of confusion. You will understand why certain doors closed. You will see why some conversations never progressed. You will recognize that delays were divine mercy. And whether your soulmate stands beside you already or is still being aligned into your path, you will stand firm in one unshakable truth: God guided every detail. My beloved soul, keep your heart open but anchored. Keep your faith alive but grounded. Keep becoming the person capable of sustaining the love you desire. Because when heaven completes what it has begun, the union will not feel forced. It will feel ordained. And in that moment, you will know without striving, without fear, without doubt, that your story was always in sacred hands. Type Amen.